Welcome to Kilroy's Outlaws and Legends Behind the Music with your host, multi-award-winning music producer, Eddie Kilroy. And now, here's your host, Eddie Kilroy.
Hey, how in the world are you? I hope you're feeling good as I am. I'm glad you're here for another episode of Kilroy's Outlaws, Legends, and Beyond the Music. You know, as I visit with people all over this country, they think of Nashville as the place to go. And truly it is for many people. And also they talk about L.A. Out in Los Angeles, you know, they make a lot of records there. New York has always made records there. But seldom do you hear about Muscle Shoals, Alabama. No one really hears about Muscle Shoals out of the music industry. But Rick Hall, a guy that became a very, very close friend of mine, built the whole thing down there and created the center in Muscle Shoals, Alabama. I met Rick, many, many years ago. There was a huge pop star, an R&B star, by the name of Brooke Benton. Now, I was working for Shelby Singleton, running his publishing company, my very first paying job in the music industry in Nashville, and I knew absolutely nothing about publishing. Then I found I didn't have to know much about it. All I needed to do was by hook or crook get songs into Shelby's publishing company. So Rick Hall comes up on a Greyhound bus from Alabama. And he's got on the baggy pants and he's got on brown lace-up shoes, which is okay, but his nylon socks, the elasticity had been long gone, and they were kind of hanging down around his shoes and everything. In other words, he didn't look like he was doing well at all. He was scrambling for dollars. And he played me the song, and I said, wow, that song will work for Brooke Benton, and Shelby's recording him next week. And I said, let me take this over to him. So I took it over to Shelby and played it for him. He said, oh, that is great. He said, I'll record that on Brooke Benton, but I have to have half of the publishing. Publishing is very important, and it's very lucrative in the music business. So anyway, he wanted half of that to record it on Brooke Benton. And Brooke's hot. He's going to be, boom, put that record out. It's a monster. Makes Rick Hall a lot of money. However, he's given up half the publishing on it. So I went over to Rick and I said, Rick, Shelby said he would record that on Brooke Benton, but we would have to have half the publishing. We, meaning the publishing company of Shelby's that I was running. And he didn't even blink an eye. He said, nope, absolutely not. I'll catch that Greyhound bus back to Alabama, but I'm not giving away half of the song to anyone. So he went back to Alabama. And time goes by, not a long time, maybe a year or two. I started hearing some noise about Muscle Shoals, Alabama. Rick had gone back to that city, small town, and if you want to look at the map, it's real close to Florence, Alabama. So he had started building a music center there by putting together a studio. He either raised the money or he borrowed the money or had a partner, I don't know, but he built a studio and found some really good players that lived in that area that really could cut good. So Jerry Wexler, who was head of Atlantic Records in New York, he heard some stuff Rick had done down there, and he started sending acts from Atlantic Records down there. Oh, shoot, Rolling Stones. How about the Rolling Stones in Muscle Shoals, Alabama? Oh, were they ready for the Rolling Stones? I think not. But they had to accept it because it was bringing revenue into the town with all these people coming in. A lot of people recorded there. Etta James, she's an older type lady, she recorded there. Joe Tex, R&B singer, he recorded there. A lot of R&B singers recorded there, and he was hot. Fame Studio was the name of the place, F-A-M-E. I'm giving you all the spelling and the names sometime because you may want to go to Wikipedia and check some of these names out. Make sure check Kilroy out. I won't lie to you, but you'll feel better if you find out I'm not lying to you. No, Rick started down there in Atlantic, started sending some things down there. Matter of fact, a lot of things. He was getting all that Atlantic stuff until, he was recording Aretha Franklin. Aretha could sing, could she not? Yeah, and he did a lot of hits for her. But one day, and I have no idea what precipitated it. I don't know. I really don't. But Aretha Franklin's husband, Rick was a little fiery. He could be a fiery cat. Well, they got crossways, and they got in one hell of a fist fight right there in the studio. Aretha Franklin's husband and Rick Hall. Well, Rick won that fight. But he lost a lot of business because Atlantic quit sending all those acts down there. But anyway, he had already established the studio, so he could live without it, I'm sure. Not only the R&B acts, but a lot of people in Southern rock, like Duane Allman, the Allman Brothers recorded there. That's not a bad deal. And then you start thinking about some other people, like, I don't want to call it bubblegum music, but it was called bubblegum music. The Osmonds, Marie Osmond, and I think her brother was named Donnie, am I right? Yep, Donnie. They recorded there. Paul Anka, that guy from Philadelphia that lived on the Dick Clark show. Yeah, Paul Anka recorded there. And Tom Jones. You know Tom Jones. Yeah, that one, it's not unusual to be loved by anyone, and all that. Girls going crazy over him. Yeah, he recorded there, though, and cut some hits down there. Jerry Reed, one of the greatest guitar players ever to pick up guitar, he recorded there. What did he do? All that Smokey guy. No, he was not smoking dope. Smokey and the Bandits. He was a bandit without smoking dope. Yeah, Jerry Reed recorded there, did all the soundtracks there. So see where this has gone? From a guy that had to catch a Greyhound bus to go 120 miles because his car would not make it. And all of a sudden, several years go by, and he's producing huge records on the Allmans and Aretha Franklin until he got in a fight. And as far as the country artists go, Tim McGraw, he recorded there. Is that good? How about Martina McBride? All at Fame Studios down in Muscle Shoals, Alabama. Kenny Chesney, is he the one that had that, she thinks my tractor's sexy? That was the greatest thing that ever happened to John Deere, because in pursuit of getting women, after listening to Kenny Chesney, John Deere was selling those tractors like crazy with signs written on the tractor, they think I'm sexy. Anyway, he did it down there. Gosh, there's been a lot of them. Oh, a guy that, I haven't found anybody that likes him. Maybe I shouldn't say that because his mother may be listening. Larry Gatlin, the man that people say, oh, never mind. And also Hank Williams, Jr. He got the Family Tradition was recorded there. I love that record. And Willie got signed when he first went to the Outlaw deal by Atlantic Records. And his first album was called Shotgun Willie. If you know about that, it was recorded at Fame Studio. And then they had a lot of pop acts down there. Shoot Hall, Jerry Reed, a bunch of them. I got a story to tell you. It was a sad story. Well, not that. Yeah, I did. My memory's going ping, 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 ping. I recorded there also, if I didn't mention that. Country, soul, southern rock, it was all done at Fame Studios by Rick Hall. What a guy he was. And Willie recorded Shotgun Willie there, which kind of started his whole thing is changing over from the typical Nashville record. He went down there and did something else. They've done a lot of great records there at Fame Studio. Wow. I know what I was going to tell you. A record company out of Philadelphia called and asked me if I would produce a baseball player. He played the outfield for the Philadelphia Phillies. You can check this out too. His name was Lee May, M-A-Y-E, and he was a black guy that did R&B. And I've been producing some R&B records and country records. So they called and asked if I would do Lee May. And I said, I will do Lee May. So I picked him up at the airport, 120 miles down to Alabama. We drove down there, everything's fine. We discussed the type of music or the feel he was looking for in his music. And I pulled into the Holiday Inn to get our rooms, and he said, Kilroy, they're not going to let me stay here. I said, why won't they let you? I was just kind of, I don't know, unaware perhaps of the turmoil that was going on with segregation and integration. He said, they won't let me stay there because I'm black. I said, really? Hold on, I'll go check this out. He said, I'm telling you, they're not going to let me in that hotel. Now, here's a guy's making good money. I imagine Lee was not one of these high-paid superstars, but I imagine he was making, and this is a guess, $300,000 or $400,000 a year playing for the Philadelphia Phillies, and that Holiday Inn isn't going to give him a room. I went in there and I said, hey, I got a baseball star out there. He's a black guy. and I need a room for him. And they said, I'm sorry, we don't accept black people. And truthfully, I was pretty astounded. So we get in the car and I said, you're right, Lee, you can't stay here. And we went to the black area around Florence, Alabama, and there was a clapboard hotel there, about 2-3 stories or something, and I had to leave him there while I went back to the Holiday Inn, and it really aggravated me. And somebody, get this, somebody said, well, why didn't you check in with them? You know why I didn't check in and stay at the hotel with Lee May? It's because they would not accept white people. So I'm thinking, my God, this guy can't get a room here, I can't get a room here, and it's all because of our color. But nevertheless, we've made a good record, and we've made good friends. That's right. I've had many good days down in Alabama at Fame Studio visiting with my friend, Rick Hall. He didn't want to fight me. He wanted to fight Aretha Franklin's husband. Matter of fact, he did. Matter of fact, that pretty much wraps it up, everything I can tell you about Fame Recording Studio in Muscle Shoals, Alabama. And I imagine they're still perking down there, even though we lost Rick some years ago. Right now, though, I want to talk about our sponsor. Yep, very easy to talk about something you believe in, and that's Total Feeds. And when the word total comes in, it means a whole spectrum of canines, of bovines, of goats. I want to talk about this total bull. Some of these bulls that you see bucking in the PBR and in pro rodeo are on Total Bull. Look at the muscles on these guys. I mean, they're just like solid muscle. These bulls come out, and everybody loves the PBR. I know I do, and I watch it all the time. But also they have Total Canine. Our dogs are on Total Canine. Total People. I take it, look at me. Hey, you couldn't be any brighter, feel any better than I feel, because I'm taking Total People. But listen, go to their website, please, totalfeeds.com. Check them out. Look at all their, they have a great testimonials. People that are feeding the different feeds, what they're doing for their animals. Hey, check it out, totalfeeds.com. Thank y'all. God bless you. And this is Kilroy saying adios to you.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Kilroy's Outlaws and Legends Behind the Music. If you have any thoughts or questions about the content, email them. Kilroy Outlaws and Legends, all one word, at yahoo.com. That's Kilroy, no S, Outlaws and Legends, all one word, at yahoo.com. And don't forget to subscribe. Third-party use of any part of this podcast without the expressed consent of Eddie Kilroy is prohibited. The Kilroy's Outlaws and Legends Behind the Music podcast is a production of Eddie Kilroy.